Hello ladies and gentlemen, James Melkwell here. In today's video, as you can see, it's slightly different. I'm actually on a private jet, and I'm going to be talking today about what flying private has told me about time, business and success. So the first principle is the power of buying back time. As we know, time is the most valuable asset. Money can be replaced, but time can't. Most people focus on the cost. For example, here, I think this private jet might cost me maybe $8,000, $9,000 to charter just for 1 hour. And but the real question is, what is the value of my time? So, there's no waiting at airports, there's no security lines. There's more time to focus on what matters. So for me, like being with my family, my dog, etc., is very, very important. And it made me realise that because I've delegated a lot of my business, I've automated more, I've streamlined more with remote assistants, and I can focus really on true high-value tasks. I can afford this as a luxury, but also the alternative to where I wanted to get to, which is the final destination I'm going to land to, was going to be driving for 4 hours. And then when I reverse engineered what my hourly rate is in terms of what my business actually makes profit per year, and the actual hours that I actually commit to that business every single week, it actually made sense for me to do the flight private. And that couldn't have happened overnight. So this is only the second time I've ever had the luxury of flying private. The first time was actually with one of my best friends, Iman, and he was the person that actually funded that bill and invited me on that jet. And that really inspired me greatly in terms of being around that type of lifestyle, albeit the jet was slightly bigger than the one I've chartered here today. But obviously the lifestyle that I've managed to build is all came down to what I've built in my businesses. I started with zero money, and then it was just all the way from scaling from 0 to 6 figures to 7 figures to 8 figures. And that was all to do with leverage over effort, starting off with working 60-hour weeks, to then reducing that down, having a team, having systems that's been able to produce more revenue without me being involved in the business day to day. So having that remote team and delegation, so hiring those people, and now obviously implementing AI to remove myself from operations has been a key skill. So always having that scaling mindset, stop working in your business, start building assets, and start to create recurring revenue, or at least predictable revenue every single month, so you know that what revenue you're going to get in each month and what sort of borderline what profit you're going to make. Because most entrepreneurs fail because they refuse to delegate, and they end up being stuck in the trenches. I've got friends that, like, when you look at their calendar, it's just non-stop fulfillment, 8 to 10 hours a day. You've got to learn to delegate. You've got to learn to keep things more simple, and that can start with hiring a remote assistant. So one of my businesses, remoteassistants.ai, helps like hire a personal assistant or marketing assistant, a social media assistant, or a business development outreach specialist. So these type of things can help you get more leverage in your business. And then that comes on mindset shift. So the levels of problems you solve in someone's business or for somebody determines your level of success. So when you're starting an agency, it might be for us, and as a recruitment agency, it will be a client has a need to hire a certain member of staff. We give them that solution and help headhunt and solve that problem. And then it was helping other agencies scale up and be mentored them. So creating my education company. So that was like a bigger level of problem that I solved in helping people go from 100k a year to $1 million a year, for example. And then the same with remoteassistants.ai, helping other business owners buy back time that is their most valuable asset. So then that can be focused on them scaling their business. And that's like in terms of, and definitely mentorship and masterminds have really helped me accelerate my growth 10x faster than learning alone. So having that fear of thinking bigger, like most people limit themselves to past experiences, even just like saying I'm going to charter a jet for a 1 hour flight, that to me like 3-5 years ago would have been crazy. I remember the first time I was going to fly business class, and I actually didn't, was when I was going to see one of my old mentors years ago, a guy called Sam Evans, was flying to California, and I met a good friend that I ended up meeting was a guy called Andre. And I remember flying back to the UK, I had the option to upgrade to business class, and I think at the time it was around about 2,500 pounds. He upgraded, I didn't. So I was still in a stage of my business where it was maybe only doing maybe £1 million a year. revenue, not profit. And I thought, you know what, I'm actually just going to go economy, paying that, I think it was a 15-hour flight, maybe 15-hour flight, and treat myself to the brand new MacBook, because I've justified that, okay, if I'm going to sacrifice sitting in economy, then I'll maybe buy something that'll give me more pleasure, more use at the time. So success is less about working harder, it's more about making smarter choices. That time the smarter choice was maybe getting the MacBook, but now obviously flying business and then first class, you start to elevate your levels of success and your levels of standards, and it's very hard to drop down to that. So that forces you to grow, it forces you to be more creative in the business, to generate more income, more revenue, more profit for other people and more profit for yourself. The actual cost of flying private, is it worth it? There's two different options. You've got chartering of the flight, which means that it's chartered just solely for you in the purpose of you picking where you will get picked up from and where you will end up at the time that is a choice to you. That cost is more higher, but obviously you get a better ROI in your time, because you can pick the actual airport that you fly out of and you pick the time that you want to fly. So the other option is taking something what they call an empty leg. So I was actually looking at this when I wanted to fly to Malaga from the UK. It was actually a really good deal that came about from Luton Airport, just outside of London, to Malaga, and it was a bigger plane than this. I think it was an 8-seater Citation, and normally to charter that plane would have been between 15 to 16,000 US dollars for the 3-hour flight. It's a deal here for an empty leg because it needed to fly there anyway for around about, I think it was $6,000, way cheaper, over 50 to 60% cheaper than chartering that plane. But that didn't end up working out suitable for me, because I would have had to travel down to London from Newcastle, where I flew from today. It was like a 2:30 a.m. flight to depart. That one just didn't work out, but there is a lot of good deals that you can get empty legs, especially if you fly with maybe friends as an experience, so you all want to get to the same destination. It's for sure way better than my other choice, which was flying Ryanair. I had a joke with my friends about I just couldn't stomach getting on a Ryanair flight and charter a private plane to go 1 hour. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with Ryanair. I still flew with them many times. For this destination was because I wanted to have my dog with me. I wanted to make it as stress-free as possible for him, not just for myself. For growing up entrepreneurs, for those of you that are listening to this, like even first class or business class shows the level of self-worth that you're giving to yourself in terms of the different stages of business as a reward, but also paying back your subconscious mind that you are worth being in first class or flying private, and giving yourself that reward to allow you to be more efficient with your time. And so I know when I land and when I do some work next week, I'm going to work that slightly a little bit harder, because in the back of my mind, even as I've created all of this net worth for myself, I still want to justify flying the cost of the plane. So I want to make sure I can make that money back, whether it's I'm going to help in sales or create a different strategy for my business in order to leverage more success. That's what's going to happen as well. So the flying private, it isn't for me about flexing. It's about the freedom and control I have over my time, and really for rewarding myself that I've got a business that truly runs without me a lot of the time, so I can think bigger, I can execute smarter, and I can be in the right type of mindset of abundance to be around in this jet. So I think we're around 10,000 feet in the sky, so you can probably see here way up in the sky. And it's been a really exciting journey, because the last time I flew private was almost, I think, 2 years ago, like I said, with one of my best friends, Iman. He's been an inspiration in terms of always helping me raise my level, and being around other wealthy people that are more wealthy and successful than you really helps you taking that next step. So with that being said, that wraps up this video. Let me know in your comments if you've ever flew private before, or you have that goal to fly business or first class, or when you did fly business or first class your first time, how that felt to you, and if that helped you raise your standards in terms of your success levels and what you truly want for yourself and your families and your loved ones. Hope you liked the video, and I'll catch you soon.